Hello and welcome to another episode of What's on the Pile. We're all here. Me,
Yay.
the gang, all of us. It's after Thanksgiving. Welcome back, everybody. I'm sure you're all stuffed with food like I am. This week, we'll be discussing a stupid little found footage, live footage, live stream footage, horror comedy, hashtag Chad Gets the Axe. Directed by the hilariously named Travis Bible, based on his own short film, Chad Gets the Axe. It tells the story of a live stream event showcasing influencer and general douchebag Chad, along with his friends slash colleagues slash punching bags, Spicy Steve and Spennifer, the adorable couple name of Jennifer and Spencer. On this particular outing, they have decided to check out Devil's Manor, a house where satanic rituals were performed and murderous sacrifices occurred. So, what did everybody think of Chad Gets the Axe?
I barely remember it at this point.
I don't even really.
It's been a bit. Go ahead.
Well, I feel like maybe the most entertaining part is reading the chat. There were some.
Yeah, that was.
There were some running gags in there and some sort of.
The guy who couldn't figure out what yeet meant.
That was adorable.
That was kind of amusing.
The people who didn't get any cultural references, like there's when he said "Run Forrest Run," someone said like "Who's Forrest?" and someone else said like "I hate Gen Z" or something like that. There was a bunch that happened a few times.
It's almost like a live commentary track that's part of the movie, which is sort of fun. I kind of like this. It takes something to make me actually feel sympathetic or in any way other than dispassionate about influencer characters. This felt completely mimetic. Say what you will about the characters themselves, all of the characters felt completely real. The actors did an absolutely stellar job of inhabiting their roles. That said, the characters are varying degrees of douchey and loathsome, so individual mileage will vary. At the same time, this had a few good scares here and there in it. This was actually a lot better than it could have been. It actually showed some thought. It showed some imagination. It showed some actual talent on both sides of the camera. And for something about influencers, which is, make no mistake, the most despicable occupation on the planet.
All among them, I'd say. Top 10.
It's way the hell up there. I don't know, baby seal vivisectionist is maybe a little bit worse. But you're still up in you're still up in the low country. But I did not feel my time was wasted. I thought this was actually pretty good.
I didn't feel my time was wasted. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I didn't feel like my time was wasted. I just really they were douchey, and I kind of hated them, and I really don't like that whole. Well, I liked Spicy Steve until he put the ball cap on the corpse. Then I was like, okay. But, I hate that whole everybody's watching something horrible happen and not helping. I mean, all of the people in the chat were like, don't call the police because this is high entertainment.
Yeah, just letting them die
right now.
It all kind of made me think of the first episode of Black Mirror. And, because Jenna and I discussed that at length after we watched it because we were just so completely overwhelmed by how horrifying the whole thing was. And I honestly would never have watched it. If I'd heard it was going to be on, the guy with the pig, I would have never watched it. And if I had heard about this, I might have called the police and just not watched it. I cannot understand
half the chat is saying, please call the police. Does anybody know where he is? Does anybody have a pin on his location?
Was it half? See, I thought it was less than half, and I thought it was like maybe one or two people, and most of them were all like, hey, don't worry about it. Don't call the police because this is fun.
Or this
I
is
may have
fake.
missed.
There
I
were
may
a
have been
lot.
missing
There were a
it.
lot of horrible people out there in internet land.
Yeah, and
yeah.
that just
I think-
bothered me so much. I had trouble enjoying it. But other than that, it was well put together.
Yeah,
It was well done.
my problem along those lines was more with the closing credits, in which we see all the influencers who were celebrating that Chad got murdered.
Yeah.
I can see in the moment when they're doing this, I've seen flame wars erupt and people become horrible, despicable pieces of shit. But celebrating someone's death after the fact, when you know they got murdered in this, I mean, it became a little too real with the modern events lately. But that in itself, I felt was a particularly nasty turn on it. And when you go into films like this, you are always sort of teetering on the edge of finding out if this is a film in which all of humanity is just the absolute worst, or if there are good people out there, or if humanity is actually basically good and there are a few shitbags out there. And I felt until the very end, I felt we were teetering somewhere in the middle, but at the very end, it sort of slid down into, everyone on the internet is a piece of shit. That's kind of the direction I felt like it went at the end, and that was kind of the world it inhabited. Up until that point, I rather enjoyed this. It was slight. This was like the definition of a popcorn film for me. It's very slight. They make the characters, with the possible exception of Steve initially, so reprehensible. You're not in the film with them, you're here watching them, which I guess is a commentary on the format itself.
I could see that as kind of being part of the point of the movie as well.
Yeah.
And
but it's
consider the shitbags in the chat were people following influencers, one of the most despicable occupations on the planet. So
I lost the other thing I was going to say. It's also immediately dated. I mean, it was dated like a month ago. So this is a film that 3-4 years from now will be like, oh yeah, I remember when that was a thing. I hope
it's an animal of its time.
Yeah. Oh, Nate, you hated this. I think I can.
No, I love this movie. I'm the one who brought it to us.
Had you seen it before?
Yeah. I love this
okay.
movie. I watched this with Amelia, who is of a generation that is not ours, who knows who all these people are and got all of the in-jokes amongst influencer and YouTube. Like every single person they showed was not an actor. They were all actual influencers, and their responses were in line with how they would respond if one of their influencer enemies or friends would have died. It's something that they have done in the past kind of thing. So it's not just, it's that realistic. And what this movie, it scratches an itch that I have had for years. And Jenner, you may not remember, but maybe this will remind you. I've always wanted to see a film about the internet that is actually realistic to the internet.
I recall this drive.
We were
kicking around that one thing for a while, but that ended up kind of going into its own sort of fantastical realm.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there were so many stupid internet movies coming out. And, what was the one with Elizabeth Bathory?
Stay Alive.
Stay Alive. That movie's hilarious, and I love it. But imagine if all of this was like actual gamer speak and the way kids talk, and not some 45-year-old scriptwriter trying to write children. That's what this movie felt like. It felt close enough to the pulse that Amelia was getting references that I otherwise would not have gotten. And
which may be why I wasn't as into it.
Right. I think it might be a generational thing. And yet the commentary is still, overall, this shit is negative. And the funny thing is, all these influencers who are in on it, they know that. They know it's stupid as shit that they're just popular on the internet and that's what an influencer is. They know it's like the downfall of civilization, but I mean, they're making money, and that's really all we can do in this world.
May fall under that under the umbrella of my principle of you can't fault the people the living that they're making. Don't have to play ball, but yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's not good. It is the downfall of Western civilization, but I think most of us make a point of keeping a toe in the internet, but not getting too deep. I know that the internet has worn heavily upon you in the past, Jane, as well as certainly pretty much all of you guys. I think I might be at the safest remove from all of this, with the possible exception of Matt. But even you had your AMVs back in the day.
Yeah,
and the AMV contests, and Ilea, throwing shade at you year after year.
Wait, what?
Not Ilea.
Just by way of example.
Oh, Ilea and the woman
Yeah,
whose
I know
name
who you're talking
can't
about.
pronounce.
I think it's Centrachio or something.
Something like that. She actually completed the Triple Crown one year at AWA, and gave me shit about it afterwards. I never took anything she said to heart. The ones that got to me were Mad Hatter and God9 and all the people who showed up on the forums and ruined it. So yeah, no, that is an uncomfortable sort of reality aspect to this, in that I felt like celebrating for a moment, and then I realized I was a terrible human being when I heard that God9 died. Because all he had ever done was show up on the forums and fill it with shit that I had to delete because I was a moderator on there for a while. And yeah, so that maybe that struck a little close to home for me on this particular thing, and that's why the bit at the end of the credits sort of hit me. But yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a slight film. You're absolutely right. This does feel realistic to the. I did like how he kept cutting between his apps trying to find a way out of here. I really loved the bit where he was trying to look up how to hotwire a car.
Yes,
at the end.
That was
will
good.
Not work on any car manufactured after 1984.
1996, I think.
Yeah, something.
Movies
like that,
lied to me.
Yes, that was good. What did you think about the villains? Making them not at all supernatural, or at least not apparently supernatural, but just a cult of murderous serial killers.
What was their motivation? They were just hanging out
murderous serial killers.
They were just making sacrifices to the devil.
They knew they were going to have people there.
It was the anniversary. That's why they were doing the live stream.
Oh, that's right.
Anniversary of the murders, of the satanic murders, and so it's whatever, years later, and whatever.
And Jennifer emailed the head of the cult, and told them they were going to be there alone in the dark.
And the cult was like, "Sweet,
that's great opportunity."
When it comes to you,
I did not.
How long has it been since you've really had some fun?
I did not know where this movie was going. I didn't know if it was going to turn out to be a big prank or if it was going to turn out to be actual murder people. And I still have mixed feelings about the direction it went. I think I would have had
that it didn't lose its nerve.
I do too. I think I would have had mixed feelings either way, is the problem.
I like Chad's face turn, or his attempt at a face turn.
I like that they redeem him just enough to the point where I feel an emotional connection with him at the moment he dies, which I think is kind of the point of the character and building up his character to that point, is that you can empathize with these people on the internet. We just have to get through a lot of shit to get back to that point.
Yeah.
Well, if he had lived, would he have been any better afterwards? Is what I was thinking. Was he was the pizza ninja guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
As soon as you did that, I'm like, I can't wait till this guy dies. I don't care what kind of redemption arc he has. Just people do shit like that.
It's a little like the end of the Devil's Rejects. You give them just enough of a redemption that they can die with something resembling dignity. Because prior to that, death is too good for them. That might be overstating a bit in Chad's case, but that pizza ninja shit is a really, really, absolutely scum of the earth thing to do.
The only thing I'll say about that is the only reason I'd ever watch that is for the time that someone was actually ready for that bullshit and just clotheslined one of the fuckers. They pull that shit. Because there are places you can pull that, and there are places you can't pull that. That will get you shot in areas of Atlanta.
That's happened. People have died doing prank videos. It happens a lot now. I've seen at least 3 stories like in the past few months where it's some influencer was like, I'm going to do this prank and I'm dead.
Yeah.
See, why do I actually kind of like go, ooh. It's not cool of me. I'm a bad person, but I'm like,
yeah. Same reason I wanted to see the clotheslining.
Maybe
Yeah.
stop that. Yeah. Maybe somebody will learn a lesson or whatever. Maybe probably
Schadenfreude is a thing.
Yeah.
I actually think if more people saw what actually happens before, during, and after those 30 seconds where a person gets killed, I think if they actually saw that footage and saw the way human beings react to each other, they wouldn't be able to create like these visions of, well, what if they did this? What if they did this? What if they did this over and over for eternity? And that'd be great. But that is so invasive of everybody's privacy. You would have to have cameras everywhere, which we kind of do. But
more London than here, but yeah.
And I don't really want to see people getting murdered all the time, which is what they would have to do. We'd become desensitized to death, and this society sucks.
And somebody would be like, I'm going to roll the dice. It's worth it for this funny video, And they're like, yeah. And they look at it as an act of bravery, of manliness, and I don't know.
It's not.
Forget it.
There's so many different kinds, too. Like, the one Amelia watches is, and she wanted to be on here, but she has stuff to do. There's a lot going on at the house. There's piano and practicing and recitals and all sorts of shit coming up. And the holidays and, guest rooms and cards to sort, because there have been 2 sets released since I last sorted my cards, and now I'm surrounded by mountains of cards that never end, and it's been 7 days, and I've been sorting cards for like 7 to 8 hours a day, and I'm going insane.
Sorry. Other reference from you weren't here for the discussion at the start.
No, I like this movie. I thought it was funny. I liked its style of satire. I thought it had some brilliant moments. I thought it had some problems here and there, but I'll forgive them for a young filmmaker on a $20,000 budget or whatever the hell they spent on this thing. And I think it was really interesting to see it with somebody of a younger generation who actually got a lot of the stuff that happened. It made me realize just how out of date a lot of our senses of humor are to the current generation. It's crazy how wow. Anyway, that's really all I have to say about it. I enjoyed it. I had a laugh. I was hoping you all would get a laugh. Shane, did you say anything about
kind
it?
of crackerjack.
I mean, I said a few things. I
don't even remember.
I can acknowledge it as well done. I hate this culture so much that it's hard for me to enjoy it. I mean, I was just waiting for them all to die.
Yeah. Okay.
Which did happen.
Me too.
I enjoyed reading the chat, but it's hard to do both, to watch a movie and read the chat. But there was clearly some care given to the chat, because there are sort of references and almost like little storylines going throughout. Like, you see the same names pop up, and you see how their attitudes either change or don't change as the movie goes on. Like that to me was like the more interesting part of the movie. I kind
Yeah.
of I figured it was going full on murder like from the start. I assumed it was, especially given the title. So that wasn't really up in the air for me too much. I would have been surprised if it had just been a prank.
So Shane, what you mean is that it's hard to both watch the movie and read the chat and also play on your phone, as a generation Z, right?
Right. I also loved near the end. He repeatedly says, "I think we lost them," while holding a fucking beacon in the pitch black. Like,
Yeah.
the sort of like why do they keep filming thing? And in this case, where it's literally that's the one thing they're using to track you. Like,
Well, he had 5 million viewers. I mean, you can't turn it off then.
That's the thing.
That would be ridiculous.
It's like it's chasing the dragon.
Go out on top.
I just
Skip in the chat. Hi, Skip.
Hi,
Skip.
Skip says, Jenner, your cat is stealing the show.
Yeah, I know. Pippi. My cat is snoozing on the show, so.
Well, I mean, he's been a regular since very early. It's just, a lot of the time when you were in the other room and it was dark, it was, always difficult to tell when he was there or not.
True.
Yeah.
Well,
we got that little pool of shadow over there. That's iceberg. So.
So, is everybody good about Chad Gets the Axe? We good to move on? Because I want to move on.
Recommended.
Me too. Recommended. I recommend it. It's fun. On to the second part. Based on some of our chats and whatnot, I'd like to give this its own section. I watched the entirety of the new Scott Pilgrim.
Me too.
Oh yeah, I forgot to go look.
I just started it.
Okay.
I've been through. I've gotten through the first episode.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So you know one thing.
I know that did not go that way last time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, are we in an iterative Dark Tower situation here or something?
No, it's just a different story.
Oh, cool.
Sort of.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to be careful about what we say.
Yeah.
We do, because honestly, I think I do want to see it.
Yeah,
I kind of hated the movie. I never read the.
I see. I
never read that.
I read the comics. I didn't like the comics. I love the movie.
I love the movie.
I love both.
I love both too.
I feel like with the movie, Edgar Wright did a good job of cutting out a lot of stuff that didn't need to be there. So he took all the best parts.
With the movie, I felt like he managed to end it in in at least passable way before the comic ended, and I like the ending in the comic. I think the ending in the comic comes to the point better than the ending in the movie, but I like them both.
Well, you've seen the original ending of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Which he made before the comic was done, and then when the comic came out and he saw how the comic ended, he's like, "Oh, let me film this other scene instead." That comes out of. He ends up with knives in the original cut of the movie.
Yeah.
But then, after the comic, he's like, "Well, let's just film the scene where he goes with Ramona instead," which just comes out of nowhere in the movie.
I like it better with Ramona, but that's actually a whole discussion. So that's litigating the movie versus the comic, and we're talking about the cartoon,
which we can't talk about too much.
I mean, I'll just say I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Me too.
I'm willing to give it a good, healthy try. So
I'm probably getting back to it after this.
I had real problems. I started watching it with my wife because we both liked the movie, and by the third episode, she left. And this was a watch one episode a night kind of thing, and she finally said, "Nope, I'm out. This is dumb," and she left. And I agreed with her until I got to the last. I think it's the last 2, but maybe the last 3 episodes where we find out what is actually going on. And then I thought it started knocking things out of the park. But I feel like the middle of the series was a slog. So
it's only like 8 episodes, yes?
Yeah.
6 or 8. I liked it all the way through, honestly. I like that we got a lot more time with certain characters.
I feel like a lot of the middle of the cartoon was telling us that the comic was stupid and the movie was stupid because it was reversing on those concepts. I mean,
I think what a lot of people are kind of calling this is Brian Lee O'Malley finds emotional intelligence. And so he's trying to correct some of the things that some people found problematic about the original story and look at it from a different perspective to make it more, I don't know, character based and not have so many one-dimensional characters.
I can see that. I mean,
Well, I've got so many problems with that, but go ahead.
I don't think we can really get into a heavy discussion without spoiling the thing, though. So
Can we continue next week? I promise I'll watch everything.
Yeah, no, I'll get through it.
I'll watch.
It's really hard. Yeah, it's really hard to get into it without spoiling.
I have more time coming in. The schedule's easing up a little bit, so
and I straight up
can
forgot.
see more stuff.
Yeah, and it's worth a watch, and I especially want to know how Jane feels about it, since she didn't like the movie or the comic. Have you read the comic?
I've not read the comic.
Oh, okay, you didn't like the movie though, right? So,
yeah, I just remember watching and going, "What's the big deal? I don't understand. Why does anybody think this is great? Because it isn't. I don't know why. I don't remember it. I don't remember it, but I do remember just being like, dang, this is not as good as I've been led to believe it should be."
Can I make a comment about the movie?
Oh yeah,
go ahead.
Details without discussing the cartoon. I always liked the movie, and the movie made me go back and look at because I read the first volume of the comics. I'm like, this is kind of dumb. It's just sort of a expanded anime fight concept with the 7 X's and stuff like that. But I watched the movie, and about midway through, I realized that the actual concept of the film, and I've heard a lot of feminist, specifically feminist critiques of the movie that did not like the movie because they said it was Scott fighting for possession of Ramona. Fighting for possession of Ramona, and that was a particularly patriarchal view. And I was like, that's not actually what's happening here. What's happening here is an expansion of the idea that when you get into a serious relationship with someone and you are dating them, you are having to deal with all of their previous relationships. That you are having to deal with their baggage. And that is a mature thing to do. What is Scott's previous experience with relationships? Knives. A high schooler who has no previous exes, he is her first boyfriend. So it's not a mature way to approach it when he, as 22? I got that right?
23 in the cartoon, or in the animation anyway.
The animation, 22, 23, when he should be in more mature relationships where you're actually dealing with people as human beings and dealing with the fact that they have had relationships outside of you and they don't just exist to please you, which is the relationship he has with Knives and why he shouldn't have been in that relationship in the first fucking place, because he's not a high schooler. He should be better than that. And Scott Pilgrim is a movie, and I think a comic too, though it's been quite a while since I read the comic, about a guy who is a complete asshole learning to be at least a little bit less of an asshole by having a more mature relationship. But it's been expanded out into this whole concept of actually fighting the exes as a way of dealing with their previous relationships. And you're having to deal with the fact that your significant other was in a relationship with a woman or with this guy who was a total asshole to her for a long time. And there's emotional damage you have to deal with there. But here they expanded into like fight scenes.
So it's sort of a relationship Pilgrim's Progress.
Yeah, or Scott Pilgrim's Progress, exactly. Did you do that intentionally?
It occurred to me a moment before I said it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Go ahead.
But viewed as an allegory, I think you're onto something there. Or at least I think you're onto something from a certain point of view.
And from
we could be here for a long time discussing the concept of the manic pixie dream girl.
And we do have to take into consideration Brian Lee O'Malley, his age at the time, our own ages at the time, and the ties we had to popular culture. And I think a lot of the criticism that came from a lot of feminist critics was that the structure of the film is derived from that patriarchal ideal.
It's
like
a very male gaze.
it's a male gaze from the beginning. It cannot separate itself from that because that's the way
Well,
the idea was structured
except
to
it
begin with.
does.
That's
and I
the
feel like
It
that
does.
was what I was thinking back then. Like, really? I don't know. Anyway.
Except it does because in the process of the film, Ramona has to deal with Scott's ex as well.
which one?
So,
Kim or
that's
not?
right.
Envy?
No,
Envy?
Envy Adam. Clash of Demon Head, which is something that will come up when we talk about other stuff we've watched lately. But
Great game. One of my favorite games of all time.
Clash of Demon, really?
Yeah. That was one of the early.
I never played Clash of Demon Head. I'm thinking of a different one. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, that was an NES game. It was it was like the 5th game I ever played or something. And
I was thinking of Night Quest.
I loved it. And then I saw it in the comic and I was like, holy shit, this guy gets me. And that's how I was emotionally immature at the time. And like he was, like a lot of people
to
are.
some degree. I mean, I feel like they do that in the cartoon as well, which it isn't giving anything away. But when we get Konniwa Hurricane, I'm like, this is fan service that is aimed so squarely at my heart. They get credit even as I grit my teeth and say you're pandering to me.
Yep.
So
I belong to the club that would have me as a member?
Possibly. We'll see.
Yeah.
He is just Brian Lee O'Malley, I think, as a creator, as an artist, as a writer, is just this side of fucking train of thought left the station. Gone.
Wasn't me this time.
It was totally me. I could feel it drifting away. Oh God, I'll remember it and blurt it out later. Brains. Oh, that's right. He is just the side of the guy whose name I totally forgot, and that was the problem, who wrote Ready Player One.
Oh God.
Jesus.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
That's
no, it's like on the other side of that. Like
shots fired.
Between the
anywhere near that.
But they both use
Ernest Klein.
Ernst.
Yeah.
Ernest.
I think it's Ernest.
Is it?
I believe it's Ernest.
I'm gonna look it up just in case because I don't know.
Read the book, heard the audio book. That is a terrible book.
I was gifted that book by my sister-in-law
because
I thought I would like it.
I always thought it would be Ernst.
Because you're a geek.
That's
like
the way my brain's
right?
supposed to remember it. Okay, I'll remember it for next time. Yeah, that's it's like, but what I'm coming from is you saying pandering. Like Brian Lee O'Malley panders in a way that we all really loved at the time we were doing like AMVs and shit. A little bit of pandering to the crowd, you get a response. It's a thrill. It's a rush. I am well known to do it here and there, and I think pandering's okay to a certain extent, just not too much.
That thrill of somebody singing in my register just this once.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I would say the pandering isn't by far the worst part of Ready Player One. There are much worse problems.
Oh no, there are lots of worse things about Ready Player One. Yeah.
So if that's Brian Lee O'Malley's worst crime, I wouldn't compare him to Ernest Klein. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a flippant joke. I didn't mean for it to turn into like an existential statement or anything.
I mean, he's just this side of Hitler, so.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, the book was not good. I heard the sequel is hilariously bad.
I won't even touch it.
Yeah, I have. Okay, there's another podcast I listened to that reviewed it, and any redemptive qualities that might have been found by people who don't understand the material in the first one couldn't even get through the second. So it's bad.
Yeah. That is what
I
I hear.
have heard nothing good from anyone whose opinion I respect.
Yeah.
About either the first book or the sequel. The movie was, parts of it were entertaining to watch.
Ugh.
Well,
I would
It
say
had
the
the
movie
when
worst
you say that
poster.
it was pandering, it
The movie's
pandered to
slightly
my
better.
brother and I, and so we actually did like it. But yeah.
Like I would
Okay.
give the book an F and the movie a D, so it's slightly better in my opinion.
I'll go with a D plus.
Maybe.
wouldn't.
I've only seen it once. I don't remember it.
I
well.
don't hate the movie. It doesn't deserve my hate.
It does not deserve hate. But everyone I know who's read the book hates the book and hates its sequel worse if they bothered reading it.
I don't think the movie is very good either. I think it's kind of it's like that throw everything on the screen at once school of filmmaking that George Lucas loves so much, or there's just so much shit that your eye doesn't even know where to go to.
Yeah.
Marvel does it now, and fucking everybody. We just live in fucking 3D landscapes on. It's like we live in screensavers.
Whoa.
Wow. So
that one's gonna keep me up tonight.
and you haven't watched Eltingville yet.
Yeah. Well.
But I think we've lost the train
This one
of thought here.
past the graveyard.
How do we get back from where we were?
We were talking about
definitely gonna-
yeah.
Scott
We
Pilgrim.
will return to Scott Pilgrim.
When we can spoil it more completely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say that was one of the big things that was one of my I saw it this week things was Scott Pilgrim the movie.
That was one of my two, so I'm down to one now.
Yeah.
Oh no!
No, that's
well,
fine.
I've
No,
got dozens, and
That's
I
fine.
know Matt does too. So
I have one
Yeah,
more, and I'll
mine-
probably go at length about it.
Mine will take 5 minutes, I think.
I got a few things. Not a lot of things.
I
Well-
can fill dead air.
I'm gonna go. Well, no, I've been talking a lot. I want to hear from somebody else. Shane? Why don't you go?
Okay. Well, so Matt, we missed you last time. We talked about. Have you seen season 2 of Haruhi? We talked about the Endless Eight.
I have seen as much of it as I'm going to watch because there was an AMV to it that was "This is the song that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friends." Yeah, I am aware. I did listen to the last episode when you talked about the second season of Harui. I am curious to watch that, but I cannot conceive of a situation where I would.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's not enjoyable. I mean, so I finished it. There's a couple episodes after that which are about the making of the very first episode from season 1, and who cares? So then there's a movie to wrap it up. So I sat down to watch it one day on Crunchyroll, cue it up, 2 hours and 41 minutes. So instead of watching it, I've been watching this, listening to a watch along podcast with this. I listened to the beginning of the episode to see how they felt about it. If they were psyched about it, or if they were like, what a waste of time. They loved it, or two of them loved it. So I watched it. It is a good story. It is an hour too long.
Wow.
I mean, the premise is like it's called The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. So this godlike being who has altered the world disappears, and the main character, who's not Haruhi, wakes up and the world is normal now, and he's freaked the fuck out. And what happens? Have you guys all seen Loki season 2?
Yeah.
I not finished. I have not
Okay.
finished
I
it.
lost Disney Plus, but
Also, the best part of the movie is when he does something very similar to the end of season 2 of Loki.
go ahead.
He basically, because all the characters have no memory of anything that's happened.
What?
And he
No, wait, don't go ahead. I haven't.
okay.
Oh,
I
sorry.
won't.
Sorry.
No.
Okay, I
I
won't.
mean to
yeah.
speak for everyone.
But
Speak
that's
for yourself, Matt.
I'll say that.
I thought everyone else said they had seen it.
No,
Sorry.
no. I'm
Sorry.
on episode. I just finished episode 5.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
4.
Where he,
I haven't gotten to the final episode. Maybe.
I'm talking about episode 5,
Which episode was that?
the 5th one. I don't know.
What happens?
He goes
Chapter 4.
Loki. Well, if I explain it and you haven't seen it,
I
that
might be
a spoiler.
on episode 5. Okay, so I'm at the part where what's his face, Jonathan Majors was like, "I'm gonna do the," and
When he just walks out there and vaporizes.
Spaghettis.
yeah.
Okay, so that's you haven't got to the part I'm talking about yet.
Okay.
But I'll say the part that's the most enjoyable about the movie is that part, and then it goes on for another hour.
Oh.
And I don't know. That's really all I have to say about it. It's I guess it wraps up the story. The story doesn't really have anywhere to go. I don't think they only adapted like I think 3 out of the 7 or 8 novels that it's based on. But yeah, there's no reason for it to be 2 hours and 41 minutes. That's ridiculous. That's like the length of like Oppenheimer, and this is like a slice of life anime with a little bit of magical stuff in it.
That's the length of Marcel Yankovic's The Tragedy of Man, which we probably ought to watch sometime. That's a fairly amazing Hungarian animated movie. But yeah, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long, but it covers the entire history of the human race. So, yeah.
Nice.
I have that in comic book form, but go on.
Yeah.
And then I think that's pretty much it. I finished season 2 of Castlevania. I'm moving on to season 3.
Nice.
Oh, I can jump on to that.
Was I right about the line reading for what the fuck was that?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that was a good moment.
Yeah.
Season 3 seems to be a slow burn so far. It seems to be building to something really big. You guys have probably all seen it.
Remind me how season 3 starts.
So season 3 starts. They did something big at the end of season 2. Wait, do you guys care about spoilers for season 2?
I guess not.
I've seen the entire series.
They killed Dracula at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So season 3, like Trevor and Sypha are off. I guess they're being mercenaries. Alucard is just bored in his castle. And then Isaac's running around doing his stuff. He's gathering something, and then Camilla has captured the other human that was with Dracula and enslaved him to be her forge master.
Yeah.
So that's how season 3 starts, and they're all kind of starting to converge a little bit now.
Isaac, I will say that from this point forward, Isaac's storyline, I think, was my favorite and also the most memorable for me. I really enjoyed it. Let me know what you think as you watch it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's just I feel like not a lot has happened in terms of.
It is a slow burn, yeah.
Yeah, it's a slow burn, but I think
I need to get back onto that one.
Oh, how far are you, Jenner? Did I spoil anything?
Well, no, you haven't spoiled anything. It's I finished season 2, but I haven't gotten to season 3 yet. But that's okay. You didn't just spoil anything.
Because I don't know anything yet.
Also,
really.
It all aired years ago, and there's got to be a statute of limitations on these things. Rosebud was a sled.
Yeah. See, I just finished season 4.
Okay.
So they went from Castlevania to Castlevania. Is it Nocturne? What's the?
That's the new series.
The new one. That's the new series.
Yeah.
I did not like it as much as the others. I imagine you're going to move on to that, Shane.
Maybe not immediately. There's other stuff to.
I am
There's a lot of stuff.
2 episodes into Nocturne, and it has not impressed me so far to the point where I didn't remember that it was out until you just brought it up just now.
Yeah, I kind of struggled to get through it. It's really kind of just not fun on many levels. It's doing its standard assault on the church and assault on various authority figures in charge, and the vampires are all the elite. It takes place in just pre-revolutionary France, so there's a lot of liberté, fraternité, égalité talk throughout. And it was getting near the end, and I'm like, this is not turning the way. Oh, they're going to do a tragedy? Because I didn't realize there was going to be a second season.
But of course.
And then the last 30 seconds of the last episode, they justify going to a second season. When I'm like, you could have done that earlier in the series, and I would have been more eager to get through this show. So I really liked the first 3 seasons of Castlevania, largely because it was anime in which the lip flaps actually matched English speaking, and I didn't realize how much I wanted that until I got it, where you could have someone say "fuck off and die," and it like actually felt right. So I was really looking forward to this new Castlevania series, and it's not all that entertaining, but I'm still going to go to the next series because they managed to get my attention in the last 30 seconds of the last episode.
I mean, is it Trevor in there? Because I think part of the appeal of what I'm enjoying is how Trevor just sort of like sighs and groans his way through the entire series.
No,
it's Richter.
New guy.
It's Richter from
Brand new
Rondo of Blood.
Okay.
He's the one who, in the beginning of Symphony of the Night, you start out the final stage of Castlevania Bloodlines, and you play as Richter and you kill Dracula, and then Richter disappears, and then Alucard comes on. That's the first game where you play. That's the second game where you can play as Alucard, and has to rescue Richter from Dracula because the dark priest Shaft has resurrected him. Castlevania is in my soul.
Okay.
I know. I wish it was in mine because I feel like I would love all the Castlevania games, but I never played anything past Castlevania 2.
Yeah, I played Symphony of the Night a little bit in college, but I don't remember any of the lore. I enjoyed what I played of it. Got like halfway through.
Platformers.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, I think Trevor is a lot of the charm of the first series. I just love his character. I didn't expect him to be such just basically a lazy ass who doesn't want to do anything and kind of gets dragged along. And I find that very entertaining. But then when he needs to, he steps up, of course, because he's a Belmont.
Yeah.
But all the characters around him were perfect foils for each other, like a perfect trifecta with those three, which is great because those are the three that you play in Castlevania 3, which is where the story comes from. Except they left out Grant, who is he's this little thief guy. You could run on walls and shit with him. I don't know.
Wait, so is Sypha in the games too? I don't know any of these characters.
Okay. Oh yeah. She has a little fireball thing. She's all blue and does blue blasts and flies around. It's really cool.
I like her. She's got spunk.
Yeah. So watching the series was like me fanboying in a way that I can only do with stuff like Godzilla. It's stuff that has been so written into my blood that I can't help but be like, oh, that hits the nostalgia strings to the point where it feels very good. And
Annual Hurricane.
And they do a great job of it. They show reverence for the series when they're coming into Dracula's castle and fighting all the different creatures and whatnot, and they're playing that piece of music. That music, like the music from the game, is there in full orchestral versions, just blasting, and it's all action. It's like it really is how I imagined playing Castlevania, even though it was a little dude made up of 8x8 pixels and just
64-bit color.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I have gone off on so many tangents this show. I apologize.
I mean, that's all I got. Still, working on season 3 and yeah.
Okay.
Cool stuff. Who wants to go next?
Well, if I could go next, that would actually segue nicely with something that a name that you just dropped there. Most of the stuff that I've been watching lately has been ongoing series, such as the At Long Last and Thank God for It Return of For All Mankind.
Oh, is that's out? Shit.
It's back. It's ongoing.
I'm gonna wait till it's done.
It's not done yet, but it is so nice to have that back.
Oh, good.
But the particular thing that I wanted to see if you had any take on just yet is the thus far 3 episodes and counting of Monarch.
That's the one that I'll probably go on a bit about.
Go ahead. Go back on that.
But I haven't started it yet, so
I don't even know what this is.
It's Godzilla.
Monarch is the Godzilla. This is a legendary Godzilla series TV show. with Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell as young Kurt Russell, and Godzilla's in it here and there. And
What's it on?
it's on
Apple TV
TV.
Apple.
Yeah.
Apple.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, presumably circle back on that.
No, I have to talk about this.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
This show is awesome. It's so fucking good. It's just so fun and ridiculous. It is okay. It's good. It's fine. I think it's wonderful because I'm a kaiju fan because I love Godzilla.
I am enjoying it immensely so far as well.
But
You did try to get me to watch it Thursday, but yeah, I didn't.
This is the first time since the Heisei series that I have liked the human element. The human element storylines are actually interesting. They are not secondary to the kaiju. The kaiju and the humans are kind of like they're side by side in the story structure. The kaiju are always there regardless, but the human stories, they used to always, like, who gives a shit about the people? They're little ants. Just step on them. They don't even notice them. So
casting Kurt and Wyatt Russell goes a long way toward making me give a shit about the human element just out of the gate there.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, and you can hear they kind of have the same voice. I mean, realistically, Wyatt Russell's face is structured distinctly differently from Kurt's, but I mean, you can still see the family resemblance.
Well, they still have those jaw.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job of playing the same character at different ages. Granted, we've seen a lot more of Wyatt than we've seen of Kurt so far, at least as far as the episodes are dropped. But you're right. I find the human element interesting. They front loaded a very solid cast there, like Kiersey Clemens as the
that's right,
as the hacker character. Just kind of a good team all around. Of course, we started off with, I mean, this isn't a spoiler because it's literally the first scene of the first episode. Started off with reappearance of John Goodman's character from Kong Skull Island.
And for the fans, for the true fans out there, the spider and crab are a sly reference to Kumonga and Ebera, otherwise known as the Spiga in the American version, the giant spider in Son of Godzilla. Destroy all monsters and all of them. No. Not all of them. And then Ebera is the sea monster from Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. And to have them fight each other, it was cute. I know the designs are different, but that's why I say it's a sly reference. Anybody who sees a spider in the Godzilla universe is going to say that's Kumonga. And they know that. There's slight color variations on it that make you able to get the reference. So
it's somebody finally made a frickin' TV series specifically for you.
Yes.
And individual mileage will vary, but that's okay. They didn't make it for them; they made it for you.
Oh, I haven't read any reviews on this. I haven't heard whether or not other people like it. I don't care.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's right in my fanboy house. So 3 thumbs up on Monarch. Go watch it. It's actually interesting for non-Godzilla fans. It has a massive amount of very, very on-screen child death. An entire school bus of children. And you
still liked it.
Yes. Because here's the thing. Godzilla walks over hospitals all the time. You think those babies made it out?
No, they did not.
You got to take that with Godzilla. He is a force. He is a natural. Yeah, he's a force of nature, and a
literal walking natural disaster.
Right. It's not
little baby-sized parachutes coming out of all the windows.
Yeah, like in the Flash or something. They did that whole scene in the God, that movie was terrible. Anyway, I love Monarch. Go see it. Go watch it. We'll talk about it again. I'll talk about it whenever.
Anyone prompts you.
We'll presumably revisit it as it goes on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
Well, I wasn't done.
I thought you were done.
No, I've seen a little bit more than that.
Okay.
Come on.
No, relatively rare to give a shout out to a comedy special, but if you know and like Mike Birbiglia, he has a new comedy special on Netflix, which is pretty neat. I like him a lot. His delivery speaks to me. Had a couple of rewatches. Idly revisited the Batman, the Matt Reeves movie, mostly as a science experiment to see what it was doing to the local dimming algorithms on my television, which was kind of impressive. Suffice it to say, it gave him a workout.
Yeah.
Went back and partly because I was talking about it a few weeks ago, and I was thinking it had been a while since I saw the first one. Also, but also because John Woo finally has another American movie coming out relatively soon. Went back and revisited the first two Mission Impossible movies. Still really like the first one, even if it may actually be less comprehensible now than it was at the time, just because the internet has changed so radically. Mission Impossible 2. It was better than I remembered, but it remains a deeply, deeply silly movie.
That's when, isn't that? I hate Tom Cruise with long hair.
Yeah, no, the long hair just really kind of didn't work for him at all. I mean, great turn by Tandy Newton, or Tandu. Fun turn by Brendan Gleeson before he was really, really well known as one of the villains. Doug Ray Scott, doing his damnedest to be hissable, but still fundamentally it's a bad remake of Notorious, which itself is a movie I freaking hate. So yeah, still John Woo's most minor American movie, and yes, I'm counting Paycheck. But
I've never seen Paycheck.
I like Paycheck.
Paycheck is slight but fun. Especially with a goofy and brief but devour all the oxygen in the room supporting performance by Paul Giamatti.
I did see that movie. That was fun.
Yes, slight but fun. Yeah. Certainly the most lighthearted Philip K. Dick adaptation I've ever seen. Been a while since I've seen him. I don't go back.
The Adjustment Bureau is the most lighthearted Philip K. Dick. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
No, I would go with Paycheck in this case.
Really?
No, the Adjustment Bureau actually has some emotional heft to it.
Yeah, but that felt more like a romantic.
Paycheck does not.
Actually, I'm thinking of the Adjustment Bureau.
Oh.
I'm not sure I've seen Paycheck.
Paycheck's with Ben Affleck and Uma Thurman.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually seen it. I've seen the Adjustment Bureau, and I liked that.
I like the Adjustment Bureau.
The Adjustment Bureau is a terrific movie. I don't look at that as a romantic comedy. I look at that as a straight up romance.
I have trouble with that Adjustment Bureau taking the romance seriously. So I just
I thought that Matt Damon and Emily Blunt had amazing chemistry in that movie. That much I thought was undeniable. Leaving that aside, because that wasn't anything that I watched. Looking forward to Silent Night, John Woo's new American movie with Joel Kinnaman and no dialogue, which should be interesting. So looking forward to that. And aside from that, the other thing that I really wanted to talk about, and the one thing that I saw twice during this period, Doctor Who, The Star Beast.
Have not seen it yet.
I just can't make myself care about Doctor Who anymore. And we're talking about somebody who grew up on it. I mean, like, I watched it when I was 12. I loved it. Watched it every day.
I've seen one episode of Doctor Who total.
And I just cannot give a shit about the new Doctor Who, any of it. I grew up to Matt Smith, and then it just failed me. Well, no, that's not true. Peter
Capaldi had some good stuff.
He had some pretty good stuff, and then it really started to fail me. Like, just completely. I don't.
After the Jodie Whittaker years, which I think we can agree were progressively downhill, this one feels like a very nice return to form, which is probably as it should be, because that's sort of the literal point of the whole thing: the return of Russell T Davies, return of David Tennant, return of Catherine Tate. I thought it was a very good time. I liked it. I liked it quite well. It's not like my top tier Doctor Who, like I don't know, like The Deadly Assassin or Heaven Sent or The Curse of Fenric. But it's a good time.
I've been watching Doctor Who since I was 6. I will be watching this.
So probably about around the same time I was.
At this point, I still look at it as a continuity. I make no distinction between classic Doctor Who and New Who. That's the
way to do it.
That is a convenience for the latecomers. Remember that my second favorite Doctor, and this is not a joke, is Paul McGann.
Oh, but his radio dramas are incredible.
Exactly. The Natural History of Fear was one of the most amazing pieces of audio drama that I have ever heard. Full stop, no qualifiers. McGann's Big Finish stuff is freaking amazing.
Did I show you these Magic the Gathering Doctor Who sets?
Oh, neat.
Where you play as the doctors. Like there's
my favorite Doctor
there he is. Yep. Right there. That's hard to see. Yep.
Nice.
And this is the other. There she is. Is that Sarah Jane? That's not Sarah Jane, that's Romana. Romana, Joe Grant, Tegan. Just everybody. Every single. Yeah.
Is there a Nissa in there?
Yes.
Nice.
They have every single. There's the Missy Dalek deck. They have every single Doctor and I believe every companion. There they are. They include. I'll show you the the what's his face? The one you like, Peter Capaldi.
Well, as I say, Capaldi is my favorite Doctor. His stories could be hit and miss, but his prowess as an actor was absolutely unmatched in the role. I keep being obliged to remind people he was the only Academy Award winner ever to play Doctor Who.
I have to say, for me, my favorite Doctor is whichever one I have watched most recently, because
That's
always
exactly what Jenner says.
I say, I had to give up on that with Whittaker because I liked her, but the stories were very more miss than hit.
Too many companions. Too many companions.
Yeah.
If I were within reach of it, I would pull down the fact that I've been doing a gigantic cross stitch of the Doctors for the last 2 years.
Oh, cool.
I am the biggest fucking Doctor Who fan you've met, and I am stuck in the middle of Capaldi because I've been trying to watch it with my wife. We've been stuck in the middle of a 2-parter for about 1.5 years.
Well, the entire second season was 2-parters, was the thing, except for the last 3 episodes, which were a 3-parter.
Yeah. So I am stuck, having not gotten to Jodie Whittaker, and everything I hear is not encouraging me to charge forward.
I liked it more than most.
I've skipped the last 2. She's been on for how many seasons now?
3 seasons.
Okay, I skipped the last.
Plus a few specials at the end.
I hated it, and then they introduced Ruth. Okay, and Ruth
is great.
The best thing about that whole season, and they just basically teased us with her. Oh my God, when I loved Ruth. I loved her, and as a matter of fact,
AKA the fugitive Doctor, AKA I called her Dr. Ruthless, which is a joke that makes sense when you actually see what the story is there.
I've been considering building a fugitive Doctor deck.
Would you have John Hurt in there too, or?
Yeah. Oh God, I had a War Doctor deck. It was too powerful.
Fucking John Hurt. Of course.
Yeah, I was about to say we do not mess with the War Doctor.
And he had a bunch of other doctors in there. He had a lot of resources.
Yeah.
Some dinosaurs.
But anyways, I liked the Star Beast. If you liked the David Tennant years, then it will take you back. And while that may feel like it's sort of pandering to people that thought the show lost the thread, that's exactly what they're doing. But it's fine. And it's on Disney Plus. So as goes my eternal refrain over on Bastards, which means you don't have to pay for it if you already have it.
Which I don't.
I was at your place, Jenner, at the apartment where I slept on your couch for like a month after AWA because I started watching the new Doctor Who, which you guys had, and I could not stop.
That was, well, I mean, Eccleston, I thought it was kind of hit and miss relatively. It had some great episodes.
Yeah, but after so long without Doctor Who, for a Doctor Who fan to see that, it was magical.
Yes, it absolutely was.
It was. I remember kind of boycotting it. My best friend, my online friend, was like, yeah, okay, but you got to watch some of this David Tennant. So she showed me the first episode of his, and I was like, okay, wait. So I went on Netflix and like ordered all the discs, got all the discs sent to me, copied them all, and then watched them over and over and over, and it was great.
Yes, Tennant is in fantastic Feckle. So,
if as much as people criticize Eccleston, I say but The Empty Child.
Yeah, no, that's the one.
That's very good.
Yeah,
you know,
and the Doctor Dances, of course.
Of course, it's a two-parter.
Yeah. Like you say, I also thought Dalek was amazing. It's the one time that's the one time where there's no modifiers to the Daleks. You know, like it's not Destiny of the Daleks, it's not Empire of the Daleks. It's just frickin' Dalek, singular.
Well,
there were some great episodes in there. There were a lot of great episodes in David Tennant. There were a lot of serious misses for both of them.
On the whole, you could say that about any Doctor, in my opinion.
Yeah.
On the whole, I found at least the first 2 seasons of Matt Smith a lot more consistent. And I particularly loved the second season of Capaldi from beginning to end. The first season took him had some definite misses. The third season I actually liked quite a lot, but of course Capaldi was one of my favorite actors before he was Doctor Who, so that just was kind of singing in my register again.
Let's be honest, the irregularity is the essential part of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
As much as we love classic Doctor Who, there were stinkers in there too. There were ideas that just didn't come off. And as much as early Eccleston and some of Tennant had like shitty CGI effects. Back in the day, we had styrofoam sets that wobbled when people.
Yeah, that's not a cause for complaint. That's almost feature, not bug in Doctor Who.
It does not matter. Yeah, it's like just imagine, use your brain. That's Doctor Who. I've noticed in when they do like on in England on Whose Line Is It Anyway, stuff like that. Whenever they make a joke about or the that comedy get together thing, what the hell is it called? Anyway, whenever
Graham Norton show?
No, there was a comedy event in the 90s that was for where people did comics against
Red
hunger.
Nose?
Red Nose Day.
No, it was not that.
That's US.
It was. It doesn't matter.
Comic Relief.
That's it. Yeah. That's the one. Whatever the hell they did. I was just trying to give an example of somebody who had made fun of Doctor Who in the past. It always seems to be done with love. There's like a great adoration for that show, a pride that comes with that show that a lot of British people I know seem to have. They're like, that's Doctor Who is ours, nobody else's.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Even the unmade cartoon.
Yeah. Someday I'll break down.
Well, even the made cartoons.
Someday I'll break down the my great conjunction of when I figured out the essential difference and the essential cores of Star Trek, Star Wars, and Doctor Who, and why fans gravitated to each of those individuals.
Actually, that lends itself on your cross stitch. Are you including the Schalke Doctor?
No.
Okay, worth asking.
It's the 14 through Capaldi. So War Doctor is on there. It's 1 through 12 plus War Doctor.
Well, the Schalke Doctor was technically a 9th Doctor, just not the live action one.
Yeah, it's not in there. It's a preset pattern. It's not. I didn't.
Oh, I see.
It's you've probably seen it before. It's the.
So it doesn't include Rowan Atkinson or Joanna Lumley either.
There's the comic relief.
If I get
or
to
Hugh
the
Grant,
or Hugh Grant, or Jim Broadbent, or Richard E. Grant. Richard E. Grant as a doctor other than the one that he eventually ended. Richard E. Grant has been so close to being Doctor Who canonically so many times. He's an apocryphal he's the only person who's an apocryphal 9th Doctor and an apocryphal 10th Doctor.
Next show, I'll bring it along.
I need to put us back on track because we still have 2 people who haven't gone through their things, and we are an hour and 10 minutes into this show.
I can go as fast as you want.
Go for it. Let's start. Let's get away from Doctor Who for now. We'll start a new podcast called "I Love Doctor Who" and add it to the 8 million other Doctor Who podcasts
with that exact title.
Yes.
I will go so fast. Okay, so. Shane, thank you for Quiz Lady. Oh my God.
That was me. I haven't seen it yet.
That was me.
Oh, I thought you told me. Oh, okay. Thank you, Nate, for Quiz Lady. Oh my God. It was perfect. It was absolutely everything I wanted.
Feel good, right?
It was so excellent. And we got Awkwafina and Sandra Oh kind of switching their role, their typical roles. And even Will Ferrell, he was
so nice.
Sweet. It was just so good.
And even the villain of the movie is like, wait, oh God, and does like a inner reflection and learns from his, like, he didn't intend any villainy. As
a matter of fact, he was kind of a hero. I mean, but we won't go into that because y'all need to see it. It's really, really sweet. So after that,
and it's also really funny and good as a movie.
Yes. It's just a good movie, and it's on Hulu. So after that, I said, Jenner, I've been wanting to watch more movies because I never talk about movies on the podcast. And I said, you got anything I've been missing? And he was like, well, there's always El Conde. And I was like, I know nothing about it. So I went into it, and it gives you the rape warning. And I'm like, oh, okay, just suck it up. You can manage it. Okay. It's black and white. It's a beautiful vampire movie. Mm-hmm. I thought it was absolutely glorious. I was completely worried for the nun, but then not worried for the nun.
It feels like a genuine masterpiece.
We finally did actually get to the rape scene. It was 3 seconds, and it was somebody I hate so much that it was actually just fine. I didn't care. As a matter of fact, I was like, you know what? That bitch deserved that.
And she was fine with it too.
We just got canceled.
I know. I'm sorry. That's exactly how I felt about it. It was
the comment I had to walk back when we were talking about this a few weeks ago.
Right. But, he can't tell you. I can't tell you. She's a lady. Who it was.
Ladies can say shit like that about other ladies.
This
a guy says it that it sounds like, let's kill women. That's what it sounds like.
Well, it is one of the most truly evil women in modern history that happens to. So there you go.
More evil than Nurse Ratched.
No, we're talking about a real person.
Oh, what?
So okay, yeah. Okay, so then after that,
I thought you were talking about the rape nurse.
No, I'm talking about the lady who was the character that was raped. It was an actual real person.
Oh, it's a real
It's a real person in modern history, but I can't tell you anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Jenner had suggested Totally Killer. That's kind of cute. It is actually really quite fun and cute. I do not. Okay, I know when I hang out with younger people, they're all like, "Wow, you would actually say things and do things like that." But I felt like they kind of put a little bit too much emphasis on, that maybe we were not as socially aware when we were living our lives. Maybe we would actually say some fairly racist things, but or even you have the teams that are the Redskins. So okay, maybe it was, but I also kind of felt like maybe they were a little bit hard on us Gen Xers. But other than that, I thought it was quite fun. I would recommend it. It's cute.
I don't think they were hard enough.
What's her name? The actress that plays Sabrina.
Shipka.
Yeah, she's so yay! I really liked it, and I think wouldn't you say it would be okay for Amelia?
I'm the one who suggested it to Jenner on this show.
Oh,
Well,
I'm sorry to remember.
it
I
was
may not have
already
been
on
here.
my radar originally, but you kind of you drove the point home.
Amelia and I watched it together, and we loved it.
So that was the 3 movies I watched this week.
I don't think you were on that episode when I talked about
I don't
that.
think so either, and that's probably how I got mixed up on it. Okay, so then I watched a couple of Korean dramas, including Our Beloved Summer, which for some reason I don't know a thing about, but I'm sure it was quite good. And For All My Kind, watched all of The Crown. Very depressing, but it's okay. I mean, it is basically an overview and a fictionalization of what actually did happen to Princess Diana. So I didn't think I would care or be quite as like affected by it, but yeah, I really did, and it was sad. It was really sad. Okay, and then I started up Julia on HBO Max. Well, Max. And this is the 2nd season. The 1st season was delightful. The 2nd season is delightful. You've got sweet, fun actors and actresses. A lot of refugees from Frasier, and lots of food. And
what is this?
What
is this about?
Julia Child.
Julia Child.
Oh, okay.
Delightful. It really is. And she, I just love her relationship with Polsky, her husband, Paul.
Is it just Julia Child, or is this like a season length version of Julia and Julia?
It is a 2 seasons worth of Julia and Julia. And it's all about her developing her cookbook and her television show, and it's very sweet.
Well, no, it's not the same story as Julia and Julia, because it doesn't have the person in the present day trying to do do all of the recipes. It's just a series about Julia Child.
It is the same Julia Child and her husband Paul, which they do actually. But it's all about her developing her cookbook and her television show, and that's kind of fun because it's all about sort of early public television and trying to become relevant. But it is neat. It's just neat. And then I also watched in its entirety a Korean drama called A Daily Dose of Sunshine, which makes it sound all happy and cute. And I thought, okay, I can handle so happy and cute. It turns out, no. Well, I mean, it life affirming happiness, but a lot of sad. What it is basically is a nurse she's a young nurse, and she's actually one of my favorite actresses, and she's been in lots of great stuff, and she has to be like this tall. I mean, because when you see her next to any of the other actors, she may come up like below their shoulder. I don't know, but she's adorable, and I love her, and I think her name is Park Bo-ran, but I can't remember. Anyway, Daily Dose of Sunshine, she's a nurse. It's suggested that she doesn't need to be an internal medicine nurse. She needs to move to the mental ward. And so she just kind of does. She's like, well, if that's what you think, fine. Well, you kind of discover why. And it's only because she was so kind and compassionate. But things happen. It was actually very good portrayals of everybody, of all the mental illnesses, and good descriptions. Some of it might have been a little bit too, well, if you just take your medicine, or if these people take their medicine and do their therapy, they can live normal lives. Well, not always, but they do. Not always. They do exactly. They do a fairly good job of talking about treatments for mental illnesses and trying to get rid of some stigmas. Something terrible happens in the middle.
Of course.
It's terrible. And it affects our nurse so badly that she ends up in a mental hospital. Yeah. And after that, there's a whole lot of stigma attached to it. And nobody wants her treating patients after she's gotten on medication and seems to be doing okay. But it's all about her continuing to overcome. Even in the last episode, it's taking a lot for her to get through it. I thought it was just really well done as far as like mental health, and I did not think it was a little bit pat on some of their answers, but not that badly. I mean, they really were very respectful and well done.
It's a Korean television drama. If they had that level of thought put into it, I'm surprised.
They did. I have
a very low ceiling for television.
I understand. They did a very good job. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I probably am forgetting some stuff. I started a bunch of things I didn't finish. But that's it. So what was that? Maybe 5-10 minutes? I did pretty good.
Wow,
That was
a
very
marathon.
fast.
Kept it tight, kept it lively, kept it on target.
And now Matt can go and wow us with all his stacks and
good Lord.
stacks.
Let's see what you got.
Okay, so been 3 weeks. So first of all, we had Thanksgiving, and we did the standard movie nights, in which we watched. I think I talked about Apple Dumpling Gang last time. Is that right?
Yeah, that was one of my favorites
I
when I
never
was a
saw
little
that.
girl.
That was always on my childhood list.
I saw it in the theater, so there you go.
Okay, we picked the Apple Dumpling Gang specifically because the only kind of films my father-in-law likes are Westerns, and I had to pick something appropriate for the kids, and everybody loved it, so go me.
Go.
Then
Yeah.
they picked Tom and Jerry cartoon from one of these box sets called, it's
The Fast and the
basically-
Furry. Oh, I get
yeah,
it.
The Fast and the Furry, yes. It's basically wacky races with Tom and Jerry, and it was even
Fuck
the
them.
kids were exhausted by it. There's a reason Tom and Jerry cartoons are not longer than 5 minutes each, and this was 77, and by the end of it they were like, "Is it over yet?"
I mean, Tom and Jerry was pretty much should have been dead when Itchy and Scratchy came out. That should have killed them.
Well, that's the thing is Tom and Jerry made that segue in, I guess, the 70s or possibly the 80s into being best buds, going on adventures.
Yeah.
Which was which was just the worst.
Yeah.
That was in the 70s.
Yeah, I believe it was in the 70s.
This is more recent.
It continued forward because most of the time, I think a lot of these movies are kind of leaning into the. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen a whole lot of them. Most of them are kind of leaning into the Tom and Jerry as best buds, like that.
No, they were in different cars, so they got drafted into a race. It is not worth talking about.
I have seen the Tom and Jerry movie. I have seen the Tom and Jerry shows that are current. I've seen all this shit.
But did you see the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory one?
Probably. I don't know. It all becomes a blur with children who are into Tom and Jerry because it's the same plot every fucking time. Only it's told in longer and more elaborate ways. And I hated the original plot, and I hate the new ones even more. They're just ridiculous violence. And I mean, you can't make fun of the goddamn things because the Simpsons did it. There is no higher you can get, and it survived that, is what I'm saying. That's insane to me. Like, my kids, like, Declan abhors violence. He can't watch violent movies. Amelia hates the idea of violence against people. She loves bloody movies, but knows it's all makeup and whatnot. And yet these kids love fucking Tom and Jerry, and every kid always did, and every kid likes Sylvester and Tweety, and every kid liked Roadrunner, and all of these shows just pissed me off because the other guy never ever won. Ever. And you know what? Cats are cooler than mice, cats are cooler than birds, and coyotes are cooler than roadrunners. All those other animals are bullshit animals.
There were a couple of times Jerry lost, but that's a side point.
If he lost, he'd be dead.
Well, he kind of didn't look too good at the end of that episode, but
I want one where he's digested, and it zooms in on the stomach, and it opens up, and it shows him the stomach acid eating away at him as he's still living and can't escape.
Or Tom chucking up his bones in a hairball.
So, in addition to having the in-laws come and visit since the last time we talked, my folks came and visited since the last time we talked, and my mom wanted me to pick out a movie, and being put on the spot, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Last time I showed you Everything Everywhere All at Once. How about this?
Oh, damn. I mean, great movie, but...
Yeah, no, she loved it. So
good.
Not that one.
It was really
good.
I still need to see it.
It is absolutely worth your time.
It's one of those that I have
Loved
to
it.
see with Jess, and
Cage
finding the
was
right time for both of us at the same time is very difficult.
Cage was robbed of another Oscar. I mean,
he really
strictly speaking, that happens every year, multiple times a year, but especially for Pig.
Yeah.
I am on
Amazing.
record
Thank you, Skip.
as when Cage was in the depths of his trying to get out of tax debt, I was really tentative about watching any of the movies because I'm like, I don't think he's liking life doing
No,
these.
he did interesting stuff in every damn one of them.
Between Pig and Renfield, I am satisfied the man is very, very happy where he is. Pig is absolute Oscar material, and Renfield is he gets to be Dracula. Fuck all you people.
He also has a lot of fun in this. I just happen to have this.
Oh yeah,
This was
yeah.
I haven't seen that yet either.
That's
I'm behind on my Nicolas Cage.
It's just pure
Catch up on
fun.
your Nicolas Cage, man.
Yeah.
The guy's been doing stellar work for the last decade.
Yeah,
Willy's
okay.
Wonderland.
No, I've seen that. Yeah,
Willy's
but
Wonderland.
I love Nicolas Cage, but I don't love Nicolas Cage like Jenner.
I am coming around to Jenner's side of the fence on that.
I don't think anybody's ever going to get to Jenner's level of love for Nicolas Cage. I don't
Well,
think
I
it's
feel
possible.
like I might come close, but not. You're right. I haven't gotten to that level.
I feel like
yet.
love for Nicolas Cage is almost part of your identity.
I think you might be overstating that slightly.
Yeah, but what did you want over our fireplace?
Oh,
you wanted a black velvet painting of Nicolas Cage wearing Biggie's crown.
That's amazing.
I never got to it.
I told that as a joke, but now I'm gonna kind of no.
Well, we argued
I'll
mostly
commit to
about which Nicolas Cage it was going to be. Should it be
because you wanted Vampire's Kiss, like
yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted something a bit more muted. I think I wanted. I forget which Cage I wanted for that, but it wasn't the Vampire's Kiss one.
Okay. Where to next? I have seen 2 films in the theaters.
Wow.
Ooh.
I actually, yeah.
Yeah.
The less amazing one is I saw The Marvels in the theater. It was fine.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, it
seems like it will be. It just it looks like a fun movie.
It's fun. Yeah.
I loved Kamala Khan was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love her.
Her family was great too.
Her family was great. Monica Rambeau, pretty good.
Fine. Yeah, she's fine.
I can't get past the fact they don't actually say her hero name at any point in the film.
I understand that.
Yeah, well, she was originally Miss Marvel, or was she Captain? I think
she was Captain Marvel. She was Captain Marvel at a certain point.
She was Captain Marvel when she was heading the Avengers. She later became Photon, and Spectrum was another name she went by for a bit.
And later on, just Anti-Monica. Agents of Hate, yo.
Yeah. Brie Larson continues to just sort of be there. She's not real good in the film, and I came out. So who has seen the Marvels?
Okay. Don't want to see it. No spoilers.
Okay. No spoilers. I can guarantee this won't be a spoiler. Shane, what was the name of the villain?
I don't remember. The villain is by far the weakest part of the movie. I don't even remember.
The villain was so weak. I was watching the movie and I realized I had no idea what her name was.
It's some weird alien name. It doesn't even matter.
It was like Drakkar or something like that. I'll look it up when I get a moment. But I literally have no idea what her name was. It was that little of a character. This is the least character since Malekith in Thor 2. Possibly less of a character.
Eccleston apparently did some very interesting stuff, but it ended up getting deleted.
Sure.
Of course it did. Yeah. The other one I saw in the theater, I saw Thanksgiving.
Ah.
Ooh, how is it?
I can't believe I'm saying this. Roth made a good horror movie.
Fuck
Not
you.
great.
Fuck
Not
you. I don't
great.
believe it. No.
I've
I
actually
don't
heard
blame
good
you
things
for
about it. I'm
doubting.
never going to see it, but I've heard good things actually.
I do not blame you for doubting.
Wow.
But this
Really?
is it is not self-aware. It is comical in parts. They have like thematic deaths, but it is not self-aware to the point that it's like, nudging the audience in the ribs, saying you should laugh at this because it like relates because we're watching a horror movie. It was an actual 80s era horror movie slasher with a whodunit element. We don't know who the slasher is because he wears a mask. Thematic deaths, a surprise twist at the end, a genuine fuck up plot hole, I think. I'm not sure. I only saw it once because I saw it in the theaters, but I think there was a genuine, no, that doesn't work plot hole moment. Characters who, when they realize what's happening, all go to the police.
Wow.
There are cell phones in this town, and people use them, and it's like key to a moment of the ending, and it makes sense. It's like well written and plotted. And there is a point where some of you watching this might worry that the cat is not going to survive. There's a point where the killer kills a person, and the body hits the ground, and the slasher goes to leave, and there's a in the background, and he turns back around, and the cat is just sitting by its food bowl. And we cut, and the slasher has fed the cat and left.
Yep.
Okay
Which
then.
All right. That
genuinely funny moment.
that
Excellent.
gets me to empathize with whoever the killer is.
Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. The whole thing, I'll give you a very brief setup for the plot. The whole thing is set off because the town suffered a tragedy during a Black Friday sale, in which
I
our
can
main
relate.
characters, the ones who are targeted by the slasher, were the ones who had a friend that let them in the side door and were like in the front of the store mocking the people gathered outside waiting for the doors to actually open. So kinda believable that there is then a stampede rush that results in a couple of deaths, and that sets up our story for then a slasher comes back the year after. But I could not believe it. It's an Eli Roth horror movie. It's not great, but it's actually kind of good.
Wow.
And it concludes everything from the trailer in Grindhouse.
Yeah,
okay.
Everything.
Okay.
Everything, including the trampoline.
Does it include that last few frames right before the end of the trailer?
Yeah,
I
what
don't remember that.
the grandma or I don't even know what it is. It's like a turkey, but it's a person.
Oh yeah, that's the central point. That's actually the one thing I'd say. That one gets me a little. That's a little as kind of a bridge too far for me. Not conceptually, just gruesome wise, because I don't. I have a problem with people being alive.
I'm just curious, but
yeah. Other stuff I've seen. I did watch The Killer last time. I didn't get to talk about it any. My takeaway from that was that the final, when he confronts the guy who paid to have him killed, at that point in the film, what happens should either reify or contradict our assassin's like worldview perspective, and I don't feel like it did either of those things. So I was just kind of confused at the end why he didn't kill the guy. I could come up with a reason why. I could say that, well, this is too high profile of a guy. It would probably come back to, get him in the ass if he did kill the guy who paid to have him killed. But it kind of just doesn't thematically make sense to me. That was the only thing that I don't think y'all talked about.
I think
a
we
lot.
mentioned
You
that.
talk about
I
some.
mean,
You talk about some.
It doesn't. Because it doesn't. It bothered me. That I remember that because that whole thing bothered me. It's like he's killed nobodies who are just doing jobs that didn't have any. And oh yeah, so the big guy didn't have any emotion either. He didn't think of actual people and the repercussions. Who learns a fucking lesson in this movie? Nobody.
Oh, the only thing I can think the only reason why he didn't kill him was he said to him at one point, "I show up in your apartment with a gun here to kill you, and you've got literally no idea why I'm here." That was like a test that the guy is otherwise blameless. Like there's nobody else who would have paid to have him killed. But I honestly don't think even that makes sense. That's me trying to reason out.
Yeah, I didn't understand that line of dialogue either. Like he didn't finish the thought. It's like he expected the audience to finish the thought, I guess, and think the thought was clear and obvious, and it was not, and not in a good way. It's just not. It's not done in a good way, because there's no thesis. There's a thesis statement in the movie that is never explored by the end, thereby leaving it an unfinished product.
Yeah. Also, thou shalt. What is it? Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, said some guy. You mean Aleister Crowley?
Yeah, that's what I knew who it was. But yeah.
I really liked some of the running jokes in The Killer, like the identities on all of his false identification.
Yeah, those were great. I loved every one of those. Archie Bunker,
George Jefferson,
The Odd Couple. Yeah, Felix Unger, and
but you're right. It feels like a little bit of an unfinished work or a script that could have used another draft or two. There's some neat stuff in it.
I wonder how much the book has to do with the structure of the plot.
A comic, right? There's a graphic novel or something that's based on. It's a series. It's not just one.
I mean, as much as anything, I kind of like that the covert joke of the movie is that he's not actually particularly competent.
No, I figured that out pretty quickly. Yeah.
Well, sorry.
I was going to say, I did also feel that Tilda Swinton, I love her in pretty much everything she does. I felt like her scenes were a little rushed. Even in this film that felt a little too long, they should have given more time to Tilda Swinton. But I mean, that's my default attitude in anything with Tilda Swinton in it.
Just let her have the whole movie. It's fine.
I was disappointed by the lack of Tilda Swinton as well. She came in, gave a monologue, then gone. It was like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not.
It wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Well, right after we finished that, I got a email from Netflix asking me to do a survey on it. I toured a new asshole.
Yeah. Did you tell them that they ruined that joke?
Yep. Awesome. I told them all. I told them that we had it on. We discussed it on this podcast and gave them a link. I know. I went crazy on it. So I just thought, they were like, "Well, would you be interested in The Killer too?" And I'm like, "Oh, I would not.
I would.
Why would you waste your money? Why would you waste my time?" And so anyway, it was very satisfying and cathartic, and it was so good.
Enough with the minor Fincher. Let's get some major Fincher.
I would consider this probably Fincher's legitimately worst work.
I'd have to go down the list. I don't know his entire repertoire off the top of my head.
We know that I have a bias toward a certain movie, so I'm not including that. But I can't think of any movie of his that I like less than this one. And
I'd rather watch The Killer than Benjamin Button again, to be honest.
Oh, I haven't seen Benjamin.
I didn't finish Benjamin Button.
Okay, you may actually be onto something there, because that's an interesting movie, but I don't think it's actually good.
No, I don't think it is.
Okay, I'll agree with that. I think it's worth a watch, though.
Yeah.
And it's also fun to be, like talking about that girl's getting younger. She's Benjamin Buttoning. It's a good verb.
I mean, also, I kind of like The Killer. I didn't like Benjamin Button at all. I think I first saw the trailer at a ramen place in New York, Nate, with you, when we were there for Antibody or Alter. I can't remember.
Yeah, one of them.
And we were like, this movie looks awesome. And then I went and saw it, and I was like, this movie should destroy me emotionally, and I felt nothing.
I bought it at Walmart on Criterion for $10.
Yeah, that's the copy I have.
Here.
Took it home.
You have to watch it.
I watched half of it, and I was like, I thought Panic Room was kind of boring.
I enjoyed
Panic Room was kind of slight. It was okay. Like I say, of his Netflix movies, I loved Mank. Why don't they give him a script that good again?
Mindhunter, it was an amazing show.
I love Mindhunters.
Yeah. Cross your fingers for a third season.
It's not going to happen. They've already killed it. It's dead.
There were rumblings a little while.
Yeah, don't even think about them. It's from the top. Yeah, I am very upset by it as well. You got more?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
I also watched the latest season of Big Mouth, which honestly I'm just doing out of habit. It's not bad, but Big Mouth was 2 seasons of like genuine, insightful commentary, followed by the rest of it's just kind of gross jokes. They still get a couple of things in here and there. I mean, I will always give them credit for inventing the shame wizard, which is one of the greatest ideas in a long time. And I like human resources, though it's kind of similar. And I'm probably an episode or 2 behind on Invincible season 2.
I'm a little behind myself.
Right? They're pausing for no reason, or just to get people to subscribe longer or something.
Oh, maybe I'm not behind on it then. I haven't checked in a little bit.
Only the first half.
I think they've had 4 episodes and the special.
Only 4.
And I've only seen 1, and I skipped the special so far.
Unless another one snuck out on me.
I watched the first season. I thought it was incredible storytelling.
It was fantastic.
I'm not coming back for the second season. It's just too brutal for me.
It is, yeah. Well, I guess it is. The one episode I saw was pretty brutal, but they did actually manage some good jokes.
They had, in the span of like 30 seconds, a mom with her like toddler in a wrecking building, and Invincible being like, "I'll save you," and then them cutting to just her arm and the building is gone. In that same episode, they have a dad reaching out for his daughter in the rubble. They're both still alive, so they both get crushed and splattered. Like thousands of regular people, kids, are murdered mercilessly at the end of that season.
It's rough.
It's a great show. It's the only time I've ever actually enjoyed What If Dark Superman. And it's I just can't come back to it. That was my limit. I am good. I don't need to have any more of the story. I did spoil the rest of the series for myself just in case. It turns out there's a bunch of bullshit, and I'm good.
You hit your equivalent of my Road to Alexandria moment from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Kirkman will find the moment where you tune out and you're like, nope, I'm good.
It's Glenn for me with Kirkman with the comic.
I can totally see that. I was actually thinking you were talking more of a less literal brutal and more emotional brutal, because I'd say
it's that too. But
there's a bit of that too. But in this case, we're talking about raw practical brutality.
In the second season, there's a bit where the mom of Invincible goes to a support group for spouses of superheroes, and in talking with one of them afterwards, they find out who her spouse is, and they're like, "Don't come back to group." And
I haven't gotten that far, but I believe that.
Was like,
damn.
That was
devastating. Yeah,
that was pretty devastating. And that's all I've been watching. Part of my stuff was, though, that I went on a trip up to Appleton, Wisconsin, which meant I drove through Madison and spent a night with a relative there, and hit up a DVD place there, and came away with a whole bunch of bullshit. I'm not sure if you want to even glance at it, but it's the only props I've got this week.
Sure. Let's see.
So, Versus the Dead.
What? Who versus the dead?
No, it's just Versus the Dead. So
but who?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
I guess you have to watch it to find out.
We got an animated French Alice in Wonderland.
Alice
one of my projects.
Paris.
Alice
in Wonderland in Paris. So is Wonderland in Paris and Alice is there? Or is Alice
Alice is
in
in
Wonderland, which also happens to be Paris.
No. It's the Alice from Wonderland in Paris.
But it says Alice in Wonderland in Paris.
No, it doesn't. No, you're not
Really?
looking close. It says Alice of Wonderland.
That's way lamer.
Yes, it is. Don't know. Was interested.
Great title.
Not even gonna bother. Red Hook.
Oh, Red Hook. I thought it said Red Ho.
Yeah.
Growl.
Let Sleeping Corpses Lie.
AKA Breakfast at the Manchester Morgue, which is one of the greatest titles ever.
Ghosts of Chernobyl. Probably a cheapy ghost film.
But make no mistake, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie is a legitimate classic. Vamps is actually really good.
And also a classic.
It kind of looked like it. I haven't seen it. I know nothing about it.
It's good.
It's a lot of fun.
Somebody help me. Don't know anything about it. BET release.
Can you tell me what year that is?
Oh, what year? Maybe. Let me see. No, not without digging in a little further.
Okay.
Never mind. 2006.
Okay. Now that makes sense then. I was specifically looking at the graphic design of the front cover, and it looks identical to every other. Anyway.
Yeah. The Unwilling, largely picked up because Lance Henriksen is on the back cover.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe he was unwilling.
True Fiction, don't know. Has to do with somebody.
I read the blurb on that at the Dollar Tree, and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, $2.99.
Huh.
I should mention that the DVD place was actually having a sale, so I didn't even pay the money on the covers here. And the Super Deep.
Oh, that's good.
Is it really?
No, that's really good. That's Russian alien in a mine shaft.
Utter original. So that's usually a mark of quality.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. No.
I just like the title.
It actually makes sense in the context of the setting of the movie. It is treated as an industry technical term.
Yeah, but I want so much for a trailer to be like, is it in the deep? No, man. It's in the super deep.
Super Deep.
Yeah.
No, but the Super Deep is actually a really good movie.
Cool. It looks interesting. I like the cover.
Now the actual finds I got from there, and these I had to have shipped to me because though I bought 16 movies at the Mega Media Exchange in Madison, Wisconsin, next to the Eastgate Mall, to anyone who happens to be in the area.
Actually, I saw Empire Strikes Back at that.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's
In the
good. That's actually a theater.
Yep.
Wow.
But I bought 16 movies and I walked out with 10. They just forgot to bag the other 6 and they had to ship them to me. But they did. So all credit to them. Go peruse their shop. I picked up this just because my obsessive nature means I need to have a copy of it. We reviewed this on the show.
I like that.
Mod.
I like that movie.
And then the ones I couldn't quite believe I found.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Window.
It's not Avadi's best, but it's really, really freaking good.
Couldn't believe I found that there because I recognized the name. I'm like, wow. But the one I really couldn't believe I found was Thanks.
Wow. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I somehow have never gotten around to picking up a legit copy of that, but it's a William Castle horror movie with Marcel Marceau.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, wait, I know this. Why do I know this? I had to look it up on the internet. Holy shit, I forgot this existed. So those were the finds there, and then at Half Price Books, I picked up a thing called Spine of Night. Have any of you heard of this?
Oh, yes. It's basically a feature-length homage to Bakshi's early '80s stuff like Fire and Ice. It is one of the nastier animated movies I've seen in a while. It's good. It's very dirt and blood heroic fantasy.
Interesting.
Okay. Okay, full length. All I really know about Richard E. Grant, Lucy Lawless, Patton Oswalt as voice actors in it.
Damn.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. And because I'm an idiot, I got another 50 movie box set.
Nice.
That's a pretty good one, though. I have that one.
Yeah. I picked this one up
So-
almost entirely. Not entirely, but almost entirely because it has They Saved Hitler's Brain in there.
There are lots of boxes with They Saved Hitler's Brain. That one has a bunch of Nashi movies in it, though.
Oh, good. Because I haven't actually seen a lot of Nashi.
Yeah.
And that's it. Sorry for monopolizing.
Oh,
Alright.
no,
Oh, that was good.
Well,
I like your adventures in physical media tourism.
well, I'm getting kind of tired, so let's move on to let's pick a movie for next week.
Okay.
Now we are into the holiday season, where over the course of the next month and a half there will be like 800 different religious holidays, and we can do a movie from any one of them. That's the criteria.
I actually have a suggestion.
Ooh,
Yes.
But Jenner and I have seen it. Fat Man.
Well.
Fat Man. Do you
It's
remember
fine.
Fat Man?
Right there.
Jenner?
Yeah, of course I remember Fat Man.
That's the Mel Gibson.
Yeah, say
Yeah.
what you want about him personally. It is a fun movie. I loved it. I don't know, but that's me. I
I
would
could
watch that
understand-
every year.
I could understand a measure of squick on that front if you're hesitant. It is a really good movie just as a thing in its own right, though.
I am ambivalent.
That's
Okay, then
understandable.
let's think of something.
Have you seen Violent Night?
Something
No,
more bivalent.
I have not
Because
seen Violent Night.
Wait, is Violent Night the David Harbour one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just
Yeah,
watched
that was
one.
really good.
That
That
was
was
fun.
really that was
Counts
excellent.
David Harbour is an absolute sweetheart.
I love.
That's
David
on my
Harbour.
list.
I love David Harbour. I will watch it again and again. It is really good.
What about you, Wagner?
I watched it on an airplane.
Okay.
So you,
So
Have you
I
seen
would
it?
be
Have
the
you
only
seen
one.
it, Shane?
Yeah, I saw it when it was on Amazon Prime. I think it's gone now, but
All
I
right.
watched
Well,
it fairly
It's
recently.
streaming on something because I keep adding it to lists and not seeing it.
Probably
So
available somewhere. Let me check.
it's enjoyable. It's not terribly profound.
Okay.
It's on Prime.
Oh, it's still on Prime.
It says it is.
Okay, that's where I saw it. I thought.
yeah, it probably still is.
The rest of the places charge $4, but it says it's still on Prime. I don't.
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have
it's on
Prime.
Prime. Yeah, it's on there.
Okay.
Either way, I'm the only one who hasn't seen it. Would everybody be willing to watch that again? Or-
of course.
Oh, I'd be willing to watch it. I don't know.
But if you can think of something better, I mean, but
Yeah,
I love that
seeing as I
movie,
don't
and
think
I
I have
would
any great
totally watch
ideas.
it again.
I'm
Um,
100% in on that. But yeah, if anybody has some better suggestions, I'm gonna do some basic
Okay.
trolling on the internet to try to kickstart my brain. With
Yeah, my
Yeah.
mom wanted to watch a bunch of holiday movies on what is it, the Hallmark Channel, and I was like, Mom, let's watch some real fun stuff. So I made her watch one with Brooke Shields and Carrie Elway called Castle for Christmas, which was very much a Hallmark movie on Netflix.
We did 8-bit Christmas on this show. I think maybe 2 years ago.
Oh
almost.
yeah, that was
Yeah, we
did
lovely.
not everybody. Okay, shoot. There's this movie Spirited, but not everybody has access to Apple TV, and it's only on Apple TV.
I do. Yeah, actually,
I almost saw that in theaters, but I
Yeah.
have not seen it.
Oh, was that the Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
Christmas Carol thing?
Yeah,
it's fantastic. I
forgot
loved
to
it.
watch
I watched
that.
it. I watched it 4 times in a month last year. I loved it so much.
I just forgot to watch it.
I'm
haven't
watching
seen
it. I am.
I know you watched it with me. I know we watched. I know I made you watch.
I mean, we got some Dan Stevens
think-
fans here. Have you guys all seen the Man Who Invented Christmas?
Yeah, great
No.
movie.
I
No,
love Dan
No.
Stevens, but I haven't seen that one.
I haven't
Oh,
seen
shit!
it, and I love
That's-
Dan Stevens.
that's the one about Dickens.
Yeah,
It's about Dickens
Dan Stevens as Dickens. Yeah.
writing,
I would watch that.
but it's
What-
also Christmas Carol
Goodness.
at the same time.
It's
What
on
is it
Prime.
on?
It's on Prime as well.
I watch that every Christmas with my family. It's one of my favorite Dickens and Christmas Carol related movies.
I'm all for it.
I love that.
If you'll rewatch it, I will. Yeah.
Well, I think he just said he was literally going to rewatch it anyway.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Yep.
Okay, the man who invented Christmas on Prime.
I'm writing it down because
Yeah.
Put it in the chat too, because I will forget. But...
That's going to be an easy one to slide out.
I will say, last time I was a little confused by the hashtag chadgetstheaxe.
Oh.
You didn't put any text on there saying it was a movie or it was the movie for next week.
I thought you had heard of it. I always assume everybody else has heard of everything because whenever I talk about a movie, all my friends are like, yeah, I know that one.
I assume Wagner has heard of everything.
That's nice of you. Wagner has not heard of the things that are good.
Well,
I've heard of the shitty things.
I guess Chad Gets the Axe is more on the indie circuit thing right now. Yeah. Like it's been sweeping. It did sweep a bunch of festivals. So
the only hashtag movie I know of is hashtag horror, and it is absolute shit. Do not watch it. It's the only thing where I've ever seen that the transition, but for some idiot reason they chose to transition between scenes with a simulated phone like casino game that is just loud and glaring and really hurts every time they transition between scenes.
Weird.
Yeah, it's also firmly in the all of humanity is shit worldview. So
yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm going to close it out for us. I think we're at a good place to say goodnight. That's going to do it for us. Please like and subscribe. We would appreciate it. Come and talk to us. Suggest movies. That's always a lot of fun. We would love to watch the movies that we've never heard of that you have. We probably have, but you can try.
We appreciate the suggestions. Make a game of it.
Yeah, please do try.
See if you can stump us.
Yep. That sounds great.
Or lead us in an interesting new direction that hasn't previously occurred to us.
Awesome.